St. John's opened its current building 60 years ago. Before that, our church was a little log cabin at the end of the harbour. We quickly outgrew it, so our parishioners of the day raised money to build this church. Ida Overley remembered walking around her neighbourhood collecting money from her neighbours. When asked, "What did you think of it when it was completed?" she replied, "I thought it looked like a shoebox." And we've been worshipping in this beloved shoebox ever since. A few years later, we added the education wing. The last capital campaign at St. John's was about 25 years ago, when we added the existing narthex and 24-hour Hilton Chapel, the expanded seating area at the right in the nave, and the offices. We now begin the next stage in St. John's ministry and mission. Discernment of the physical needs in our building began in 2017 in our parish-wide survey. After years of putting off needed improvements in order to keep a balanced budget, the vestry has decided that the time is right for us to take care of our church home. We are excited to launch St. John's Widening Our Welcome, or WOW, capital campaign. Our prayerful hope for WOW is to make St. John's safer and more welcoming, both for today and the generations to come.
In various surveys, St. John's parishioners have repeatedly said that in terms of the physical church, the thing they want most in this building are better bathrooms. Bathrooms that not only look better, but will be able to serve those with mobility and other challenges, as well as families with small children. WOW will increase the number of bathrooms and make all of them ADA compliant. We've also discerned and cataloged other physical needs at St. John's that all have to do with safety. Our current fire safety system is inadequate. The large parking lot on the south side of the church has virtually no lighting. Our locks and security system are out of date. WOW will take care of all these problems.
One glaring need is the deterioration of the narthex roof. Last winter, water got under the surface of the roof, filled the light fixtures, and caused structural damage to the roof itself. If we can rebuild the narthex, it'll allow us to create a structurally sound entrance that's also more appealing from the street and flows naturally into the rear of the nave. It's create enough space for everyone to socialize after worship and feel welcome in the church. This is an opportunity that probably won't reoccur in our lifetimes. WOW fulfills this priority.
Moving the choir and organ to the front of the nave, flanking the altar, will open up fellowship space at the rear of the nave, which will also allow natural light to fill our worship space through our beautiful stained glass window. This window that depicts Jesus washing his disciples' feet. Whenever someone joins St. John's, we give them a basin and a towel as a symbol of what it means to belong to the church, that we will serve one another in practical ways. The WOW Capital campaign enables our enlightenment and gives us another way to fulfill our commitment to care for one another.
We also plan to improve the acoustics in the downstairs parish hall. When we gather together for meals, or when groups like our English language learners use the space, we want to be able to hear each other clearly. Finally, we want to create a memorial garden by redesigning the courtyard between the nave and education wing. This would be a space where ashes can be interred. In this way, WOW reminds us that the living and dead are gathered together in Christ, and that we are the church throughout time.
From our point of view, it's a little awkward in the narthex leading to the sanctuary. We got lost a couple times trying to find our way out. I'm sure that we're not the only ones that had that problem.
I think that the narthex is a pretty serious problem that does need to be addressed. And I think that we have problems with access to basic areas like the bathrooms and the parish hall that is a problem for a large part of our community.
It's in rough shape. It's definitely seen better days, and those better days were about 25 years ago, the last time that we did some upgrades on the church. There are a lot of things that need to be updated for safety reasons, but there are also a lot of things that need to be updated aesthetically. When you walk into our church, it's a very closed and solid-looking building. It doesn't look like a place that you would want to walk into.
It's a building that serves our purposes. It elevates us, it draws us together and draws us to God. But because of some deferred things, it needs our urgent attention.
The thing that makes it most difficult for us is that there's no family bathroom. I need to be able to go with him and assist him, and that's an option not available to us here.
I was really surprised to learn that, it's been maybe 25 years or so since it had any upgrades.
People do church differently than they did 60 years ago, and community gathers differently. So we have to look at the building with regard to who we are and how we use the building as community.
Commitment to this campaign takes sacrifice. It's going to take a conscientious decision to find where you can make that happen in your lives so that we can make it happen in our church.
And I think it's important that we all band together and try to make this a successful campaign so that we can invest in the future of the church.
There are lots of times when I feel like I can be excused from things because I have so much on my plate. But this is something that I feel very strongly about, requires all of us, that it not only will benefit us as a congregation in terms of the facility, but that it will further strengthen our sense of community.
Nonprofit people need extra help from time to time to keep the building and the property upgraded. So I'm sure it needs to be done.
I hope that other members of the parish have found this church to be a welcoming and inclusive place. I hope that it's a place where they feel like they are known, and I hope it's a place that they can come to feel as being their family. And I hope that this building is someplace that will be safe and familiar for them, as it has been for me through most of my life.
If each of us would commit, as I will commit, it makes the burden easier because we as a community will share it together. And those that can't give as much, that's all right. Those that can give more, that's all right. But then it becomes more we, and we is what we should be all about all the time.
As we've been preparing for this capital campaign, it's caused me to think, for the first time really, that there was a previous generation who gave us this church, who raised the money, who sat through endless meetings, and who dreamed of a common place to worship in and call home. And they did it. They built St. John's, and then they bequeathed it to us. So now it's our turn. It's our turn to take stock of our building, to take stock of our mission to be like Jesus, to take stock of our own commitment to this church in this time, and then to commit ourselves to becoming a church where all are welcome, where people will be safe, and where everyone is able to participate fully. And please God, when people drive by on Scansea Avenue, they'll look at this church and say, I'd like to see the people who worship there. And when they walk through our narthex and share in our liturgy and mingle with us afterwards for coffee, they'll decide, I want to be a person who worships there. I truly am excited about the Widening Our Welcome capital campaign and the potential for us to be like Jesus in this time and in this place that we call St. John's. Thank you.